Alright, we're back with the yz450f. The last video we got this thing running. Took it on its first ride and the water pump seal started leaking out of the weep hole in there. I already got a gasket kit for it. So all I gotta do is pull this case half off. Get this thing replaced today so we can go ride. I've never actually replaced the water pump seals on a dirt bike before. I'm pretty sure it's all pretty universal. I think on this one I'm gonna have to pull this case half off. You can see it's sectioned right there. In order to do that, I might have to take this rear brake lever off. It's just a bolt there and there. Kickstarter. I might have to take this water pump cover off. And this oil line down here. Probably gonna have to take the skid plate out of the way. I don't know about the oil cover. But this whole case should just slide off. Shouldn't take too long to get this thing swapped out though. Then we can go take this thing for a ride. This Kickstarter off. And we'll get this rear brake lever out of the way. Alright, now I just need to get this water pump off, or water pump cover. It's just 3 bolts. I need to drain the coolant real quick. This is a little 8mm. It's just water. It's not coolant, so if you're an environmentalist, please don't come after me. I don't need to drain the oil, because when you take this case half off, it will pour out. So I think this is an oil line. Like I said, I've never done this before, so I'm going to take this off and see if oil comes out. I guess we'll see. Okay, well that was kind of disappointing. Oil drain's actually right here on the back behind the skid plate. Which is kind of weird. But I kind of like it. It's a pretty easy spot to get to, honestly. To get these other 2 water pump bolts out. Okay, so apparently they wanted to put the bolt way up there under the exhaust. So I'm just going to take this boot off right here and I'll take it off after I get the case off. Okay, so they really gonna do me like that. Okay, so they really gonna do me like that. There's a freaking oil line right underneath this. I mean, I can't even put my finger under it. That's how close it is. So this exhaust has to come off. Unfortunate for me, but lucky for y'all. Y'all get the treatment of editing, so now I can get this oil line off. I can get this water pump cover off too. You can see the little weep hole in there. That's where it's leaking from. So the seal is going to have to be behind this propeller, which is behind this case half. That's why I'm taking all this off. But I'm pretty sure it's the seal that's directly behind this. So I just need to pull out all these bolts, go around the edge, and this case half should just come right off. All that work just to get this case off, just to get this clip out. That's crazy, man. We're through it now though. Start getting this thing cleaned up. So if you watch my other videos where I said this clutch or this kickstarter wasn't engaging, you can see how it rides on the clutch. And that clutch has to be lined up on this gear in order to turn the crank. So this basket basically wasn't slid all the way on, and that's why it wasn't engaging. So you can see this little passage right here goes down to where that wheat pole is with the water pump. Goes right into this little cylinder. So that seal is going to be behind the impeller and behind this bearing. So it's kind of weird how you got to take this thing off. You can actually see this is too thick to fit through the bearing because that has to come off, this way. So you can see there's actually threads there. The pump has to unthread from this shaft, and then the shaft comes off. So I'm going to have to, it's just a little 13 millimeter right here, and then a 12 on this side. God, that thing's tight. Using a bearing puller kit to get this bearing out. This thing is eating up a pretty good bit. Here it is. You can see how whenever it goes in, the flanges actually catch it on the inside, and that's how it pulls it out. Now we can get to our seals. Finally, after all that, should be able to just push them out now. So we got the little seal out of there. See, it's kind of in pieces, but that piece, and the piece that's still in my socket. So we're going to clean this up real good, and then we'll get the new seal in. I actually see down in there, that's where the wheat pole is on the other side. See? It's right there. Goes directly through or right to there. And that's where that seal sits. So if water is coming past this water pump impeller, it'll actually be getting into this seal. And if it's passing that seal, it'll go out that. So that indicates water's getting past the seal, which means it'll get to this bearing and chew it up. So that's why it's there. Kind of as a warning. Got the new bearings and seals here. I'll go ahead and get these in. We're going to do the outer seal first. So the way that these are directional, the outer seal is the bigger seal out of the two. So the bigger one, and flat side down against the case. Using a little bit of engine oil to lube it up. Now obviously you want to be very careful with this. Got the other side. Now we just got to do the other side. Same process. Flat side down, open side facing us. A little bit of engine oil on there. I'll push it in till the bottom's out. And then goes your new bearing. Pretty sure this isn't directional, but I always put them with the numbers facing out. So that's the way I'm going to do it. we go. Now it's in there. Just finished getting this one back in because I didn't get it. Is the seal's in. Now I can put the water pump back on. This propeller shaft is chewed up pretty bad, but I'm gonna try and run it just because I didn't get one with this kit, so we're gonna see if it works. Put a little bit of oil on this thing. There we go. Got her all in there. And get this clay shaft cleaned up and put it back on the bike. So what actually drives this water pump, I don't know if you can see in there, but inside this gear there's basically like a little oval in there that this little shaft sits on, and that's what spins it. A lot of people they get scared about taking these bolts out and not knowing which one to go in. So basically what you want to pay attention to is, like, obviously this one's too short for this one because it bottoms out. But what you want to look for is how much threads is sticking out. So that's how much threads is sticking out. Whenever you screw it in, that's how much threads are going to be screwed in whenever it's inside. So once it's screwed in, that many threads are going to be grabbing. So however much it's sticking out is how many threads are going to be grabbing once it's bolted in. So usually about that far is about as much as you want on these, so it doesn't bottom out and break the case. You see how much gap there is? So that's how much they're supposed to screw in. So you want about that much sticking out whenever it bottoms out. So that's just how I'm going with it, because you can see these are all different. You got some long ones, you got some short ones. But that's the way I'm going about it, instead of getting a cardboard box and sketching it out. Here's a good example. See how this one's, here's a good example. See how this one's sticking out about that far? If I were to swap these two, you see how this one's a little shorter? This one would bottom out so it wouldn't grab anything, but if I accidentally put this one in here, I could see it sticking out way too far. See, it should be sticking out about that far. So obviously that one doesn't go there. So you can usually figure it out, just in case you do get them mixed up. But you should always pay attention to that. Got the whole thing put back together. Got the whole thing put back together. Got all the little stuff back on, like the brake lever and kickstarter. Went ahead and put oil and water in it. About to take it for its first drive. Seems to be holding. So it's not leaking water anymore, which means we can finally take this thing out for a ride and really let it rip. See, it's not dripping anymore. Last time if I let it run for just a second, it would literally be pouring out, so it seems to be fixed. I'm gonna wait for my buddy to get here and then we'll take this thing for a ride.